Welcome to Empowering Plans, a show dedicated to identifying waste and undue expense in the health benefits industry, discovering ways to maximize benefits while minimizing costs, and empowering employers, administrators, and consultants to emphasize, once again, the benefit in benefit plan. Today's episode is brought to you by the Phia Group, empowering plans since 1999. Now here are your hosts, the Phia Group's own CEO, Adam Russo, and Senior Vice President and General Counsel, Ron Peck.
And Brady.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Empowering Plans with the Phia Group. I am your co-host, co-founder, CEO of the Phia Group, Adam Russo. With me, as always, our Senior VP, our General Counsel, my good friend, Phia Forum collaborator, whatever you want to call him, Ron Peck. Say hello, Ron.
Hello, Ron.
In addition, as always, we got to say that now, as always, the great, the infamous Brady Bizarro. Say hello, Brady.
Hello, Brady.
And as Ron likes to say, and I feel bad because I always talk about Pat at the end, and Ron's right. No one's listening by the end. So our great producer, Pat Santos. Say hello, Pat. He has nodded. He's waving. It's amazing. Folks, why did I say that? We have some exciting news. Even though our internal HIPAA people, security people, they're frowning upon our decision. The minute this podcast ends, we're going to put some sweat equity into this podcast room. Pat, Ron, Brady, and myself are going to tear down the room, take all the equipment out, and we're moving our studio into the hallway, into a corner, right near one of our unisex bathrooms. And we will have, yes, I'm going to say it again, we will have video, not just audio. But now, in the future, you'll be able to see all of us. You'll be able to see the Phia swag, the bobbleheads. We're going to make this way better than any ESPN studio. And damn it, we don't care if there's a concern that all the equipment's going to be stolen, that someone's going to steal Mr. Met off the desk. Someone's going to take my Chief Wahoo sticker and throw it in the trash. I don't know. Or any of Brady's political posters.
Those are important.
His Reagan poster from 1984. We could just, don't do it or whatever it is. What is the drugs one that they had?
Oh, yeah, the war on drugs.
Yeah,
just say no.
Just say no.
Yeah, that's the one.
You know, Just Say No with Nancy Reagan. You know what? If someone wants to steal that stuff, we will find them and punish them.
Brady's got his Get Down with Trickle Down poster.
Like, it's going to be, we're really excited about the move. I think all of you, we've been hearing it over and over again, want us to have some live feeds once in a while. So we're going to appease you guys. In addition to all the foopies out there, the Phia groupies who love our podcast, who decided this week to come to our forum. Yeah, they stalked Ron a little bit. They were stalking
uninvited.
Myself.
Yeah, uninvited. They were not actually invitees of the event. They were
when
just
they
crowding around the stadium.
When they handwrite their name into the badge, that's how you know those are the people that weren't actually invited, but you couldn't say no to them because you were petrified they might do some bodily harm to you.
Yeah, the smiley sticker with the googly eyes instead of the photo of the attendee was a dead giveaway.
But I want to just let everyone know, I want to thank personally Ron Peck for putting on a great, great show. I did all the actual live work at the event that people saw, so I'm like the front man. But trust me, the work that Ron did behind the scenes, every slide, every topic, every speaker, we raised over $13,500 for the Boys and Girls Club of Brockton with our silent auction, which was amazing. Ron's choice of venue at Gillette Stadium was unbelievable. Seeing the Phia Group logo at Gillette Stadium right next to that horrible cheating Patriots logo, even though I hate the Pats, it was inspiring, to say the least, Ron, to see our logo up there on the field.
I got to tell you, it was a lot of work from the original concept to actually seeing it come to fruition. It meant a lot, and I was really happy to see it all come together like it did. And I just want to take a moment, if you don't mind, Adam, to give some credit to where it's due a lot of other individuals who helped me sort of bring it to reality.
This is political garbage, man.
No joke. Your partner.
Come on, just say it. You did all the work. It's fine.
I will admit that I was the seed of creation. I think I'm the creative inspiration. But
so now you're calling yourself God.
I'm not.
But
if you want to, I'm not going to. But the other speakers were awesome, Adam.
There was one other speaker.
Well,
I'm kidding.
a couple people cleared their throats, I think, at one point. But you always call yourself the co-founder, the co-owner of the company. For those who don't know, Mike Bronco, your co-owner, did a lot of work with the venue, the people there. He obviously made a good impression because they threw a lot of bells and whistles in that weren't necessarily even part of the package.
That's right.
Because of that reputation, because of the relationship he built with Mike's right hand and left hand, Cindy Monfy. She was on the phone. She was getting on people. Our RCPs, the clients, obviously the attendees, they were amazing. The people over at the Boys and Girls Club and the resources they actually provided to us to help get that auction up and going, their connections were amazing.
Well, you know what I'm noticing? I'm hearing from Ron. What did Ron actually do? It looks like everyone else did all the work everything I thought Ron did, he's now telling me someone else was doing.
Well, Adam, what I actually ended up doing was I came up with concepts and then delegated the actual work. I'm learning from the best. We also
I am the
had
king of that. I am the king.
I gotta throw Hannah and Matt's names out there too. They were helping with a lot of the packaging, the flyers, the folders, the swag that we gave out that I was just in love with.
I think our
this
listeners
year.
don't need to know like every person that made a box or to put hung something up on a wall.
I also want to thank my parents. I want to thank God. I want to thank everyone.
All right,
whoever
the
made
music
this
is playing. Let's get them off the stage. Anyways, for those of you who know we're going to get bombarded with this, why wasn't I invited? Folks, this was an invitation-only event. This is the 9th year we've done this conference. Back in the day, we literally had it open to anybody, and we'd have hundreds of people come. But what we realized is that we're going to get a lot more use of our time if we focus on our actual clients, our biggest clients, not only the biggest in revenue, but the clients that are most collaborative, the ones that are willing to be a beta, the ones that have new ideas for us to come up with new services, just organizations that are leaders in our industry. And those are the folks that we wanted to make sure we had in the room. We invited 75. We got 75. And then we added about 20 people from our own organization as well, because obviously we want them to mingle. But it was a 3-day event. It was unbelievable. Next year, my goal is to have it at Progressive Field. Yes, Jacobs Field in Cleveland for the 10th year anniversary Phia Forum. What better place than in the land?
Is that a rhetorical question or a real question, Adam? I thought you were trying to keep this podcast short.
This podcast has already gone over time, but a couple of things I want to bring up. And just so you know, Pat Santos will be working very hard over the next 2 weeks to put together a nice, detailed video, audio show that we can share with all of you, just the highlights. So even if you weren't there, even if you're not cool enough to get the invitation to the Peck, Brady, and Russo party, you'll still be able to watch it for free.
We were videotaping. We were audio recording. Honestly, how better to honor the Patriots and Gillette Stadium than to have audio and video recording equipment everywhere, tracking everyone's movements and listening to everything everyone said.
I think we left some behind, too, for the practices.
It's
saying.
in the visitors' locker room.
Okay.
Right. I mean, we literally had a podcast with Pat Patriot, and he can't talk, which is amazing.
That's innovation. That's how you do it.
I was trying to find out if he was, because I saw him with the cheerleaders in the corner. I was trying to see if he was like talking to them like under his voice. He wasn't. He is in character, man. That guy literally thinks it's 1776. I mean, he does. That guy. I mean, the musket. I mean, he's all about it. Okay, so just for you folks, we did a really awesome survey during the forum. I think we learned a couple lessons from it, like a live surveying during the actual event. And the organization, the website was what, Ron? Slido?
Slido is the software, the program that we used. Yes, sir.
And so, I think it told us a lot of not only where we are today as a company and an industry, but it also shared with us what we need to focus on going forward. And this is what I got out of it. And I'd love for you guys to give me your input. What I learned was people are very interested in reference-based pricing, not as the end-all, be-all, as a solution to our health cost problem, but as a step in the right direction. And I thought that was so amazing to hear that most of the people think it's the right direction, because there are some vendors out there, their whole marketing, their whole pricing model is based on RBP being the actual final solution to the problem, whereas most of our industry thinks it's just a step in the right direction. So I think it's very important when you look at RBP and you speak to different vendors that are out there doing it, what is it that they believe? Is it the end result, or is it a step in the right direction?
I think you're right, Adam. I think that when you look at the way we've been pricing claims for so long, it's almost like hitting things with a rock. And reference-based pricing is a lot like a hammer. It's a tool that is definitely far advanced than what we've been doing, but ultimately it's still just one tool in the toolbox.
Right, and what people also care about is balanced billing of patients, no question. The biggest thing, and we're going to do a webinar about it in July, is specialty drug trends. That's a huge issue that people have. And one of the biggest ones that, we knew but didn't realize was such a big problem is overpayments. So there are a lot of overpayments happening in our industry. And the reason why you don't see a lot of information about it anywhere is really simply this. Most TPAs, most administrators are afraid to talk about them because it makes them look like they did something wrong. When most of the time, there is no actual negligence on the part of the administrator. It's just that they actually, because of their proactiveness, found something after paying the claim that no one else would have found. But yet they're still afraid to come out of the shadows.
We need to, I think, start now a trend, have it go viral, and we're going to push back against OP shaming, because honestly, the fact that people think the only reason there's an overpayment is because the claims processor made a mistake.
OP shaming.
It's OP shaming, and it's not a good thing because honestly, how many overpayments occur because of fraud, right? Or some sort of mispricing or mistake on the part of the provider? How often does an overpayment happen because of miscommunication on the part of some third party, whether someone's actually enrolled or properly enrolled? Maybe a plan member reports someone as their spouse when the truth is they're not actually married. That's not on the TPA, yet it's being wrapped up in this shame.
In addition, what I think we found out is that finally people looked at themselves and were honest. Even though a TPA in their administrative service agreement is not looked upon as a fiduciary, when we asked the audience what they thought, they said that 80% of them said they could not actually, they weren't confident. 80% of the people weren't confident that the actual plan makes the claim decisions and not the TPA. Based on what they're doing internally, Lisa, the claims manager, I'm not going to repeat that smoking voice that I had at the conference. Oh, Lisa, making that final claim decision. 80% of the TPAs feel that an argument can be made that they are the ones making the claim decision, which is not good. And that's why Ron is going to be sharing some information with our clients, especially those that were there, and how to get around that. But more and more brokers and plans are also asking that TPA to take on that fiduciary risk, which is a big part of our PACE product and something that I think is helpful. But the biggest thing I think I realized, more than anything else, and I'm not even talking about claim negotiation or fee unwrapped. We'll get into that. We've talked about that. We'll talk about that on other podcasts. But here's what we learned. Folks, I love doing these podcasts. We love doing the webinars. We get 5,000 people on a webinar. We get hundreds of people listening to the podcast. We get emails from our Phia groupies all across the country. Thank you, by the way. Keep those emails and love letters coming. But here's what we realized. The number one way people learn about our services isn't from this, even though I wish it was, isn't even from our sales team, which you would think is the number one way, right? Your salespeople, right? It's seeing us perform somewhere, speaking somewhere else at a conference. Number one way people learn about our services. So I guess I'm on the road. That's why we got all these people on the road all the time. And it's something I was like, maybe, because of social media and that's going to shift. People still want, and I'm not, please, Ron, do not, I know you guys are going to take this the wrong way. People still want to touch you. People still want to see you. Even though the voice is there, the video, our studio is going to be awesome, nothing makes up for me being able to actually spit on someone in the first row of my speech.
I think that, Adam, you're right. I mean, it's great to watch a game, high definition, surround sound, but sometimes you have to go sit in the seat and feel the weather, see the players, and enjoy a beer.
I think we should work on next getting a hologram and using that technology. We can have an Adam hologram that we just project.
Can I use that at my
directly
house, like for my wife?
Yeah, you go on the road and actually the hologram stays home. Brady's looking to invest in
the hologram
technology.
stays home. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go on the road and she thinks I'm there. Is that going to work?
I know that's already out there. So CNN has that for election coverage. They project their anchors through holograms. So I can imagine us doing that.
Well, I guess that's the only projection they're getting right, Brady.
all right.
You're welcome. So Brady seems to be investing a lot in technology to avoid all the touching Adam referenced.
So what am I missing, Ron? What did you get out of the forum? I mean, again, honestly, it's great. It's awesome to see the clients. So many of them came to our open house the next day. So many of them saw where this podcast takes place, which is, by the way, going to be moving, right? But what else did you guys get out of this? I mean, that's what I got out of it. I see a huge interest in the industry. I think I didn't bring up, a lot of people have that same belief and interest in getting future leaders involved. More and more people want young people involved in the industry. They're turning to Phia to help them know how to do it. And more importantly, from a training standpoint, how we train, how we educate the industry about self-funding and the right way to do it versus the wrong way is another big takeaway I got, which I not necessarily wasn't expecting.
Tied to what you just mentioned, Adam, I actually was very happy to see pretty much all of the same faces when it comes to leadership, the organizations that represent our MVPs, our most valuable partners. But what I saw this year that I haven't seen years in the past is that those leaders brought with them new faces, fresh faces, and I at least feel, at least amongst these MVPs, that they're starting to expose that next level of leadership, those future leaders, to their partners, that being the Phia Group, because I did see a lot of fresh faces there that I haven't seen in the past. So kudos to those clients that did bring new people with them to expose them and get them trained. Speaking of, the other thing that I noticed, Adam, is that a lot of our clients, even though they think that their issues and their problems and their concerns are unique to them, when we did these surveys and we were asking what's troubling you, what are you seeing in the industry, the vast majority of people all agreed. When it looked at the surveys, you're talking 75, 85, 95% of people were all answering the same way, which goes to show you that they all agree on what the problems are. So it's really more about division amongst what the solutions will be, which is where the differences, I think, reside. And lastly, and then I'll turn it over to you, Brady, is that everyone seemed to mention that there's not enough collaboration within the industry, not enough crowdsourcing when it comes to coming up with these solutions. The fact that everyone's having the same issues, one comes up with a really great solution, and then no one else ever hears about it, and then they end up suffering the same problems. That in and of itself is a problem.
So whenever you're asked to speak last, it's always the case that you have nothing left to say because it's been said already. And I think the thing on future leaders is really huge. I think I scared them, frankly, when presenting and saying, hey, look, we're getting older as an industry. Millennials, you may hate a lot of them, but they're the future whether you like it or not. You've got to take action now. We've already had...
Just, while Ron was talking, I got 2 emails asking for more info on the Future Leaders program, so I just forwarded those over to Brady.
Fantastic.
Great. I'll add that to my plate. But no, that's a big deal. And also, I was surprised a bit about how popular direct primary care was. The number of questions that were asked during the presentation by Dr. Gould, that's, I think, the way of the future. People like the idea of just less red tape, these direct contracts, skipping all the bureaucracy and all the administrators.
The only thing that I'm not surprised about is when we asked the one thing to improve about Phia, replacing Brady. And I'm not joking, folks. We have the slides and the results to prove it. Replacing Brady was number one. I want to take that slide, actually. Can we frame that and put it in our podcast room now that we have video?
I was actually planning
replacing Brady is by far, there isn't even a second answer close to it. There's not even a top 3. It's like replace Brady and then everything else.
I think it's because they want me to work for them. That's what I think's going on.
Sure, they want you to be a free agent. No, I was thinking we would actually replicate that and literally wallpaper the studio with that.
That might be a good idea.
Actually, I'll tell you a quick funny story because, we were at Gillette Stadium when we were doing that slide and we had the survey up and people were fill in the blank what they felt was the number one thing we needed to improve, and replace Brady came up in big letters, and obviously everyone jumped on the bandwagon and thought it was hysterical. At that moment, Adam, there was a tour passing in the next level over the balcony, and they're looking down on this group of professionals wearing suits at Gillette Stadium with a big slide that says next step, replace Brady. And you had these people taking pictures with their phones, sending it to Barstool and ESPN, thinking they just stumbled upon.
Are you serious?
And I kid you not, you saw the children crying up on the balcony. I kid you not, there was a tour going through the stadium at that moment.
We might as well have been the front office.
You have no, honestly, think about that. How
replace Brady was definitely there.
I didn't think about it till I saw the grown man on the floor crying.
Maybe they'll take us up on it. Who knows? That would be Ron's worst nightmare. Anything else you guys want to add?
I'm tapped.
I guess not. So listen, folks. Like we said, in a couple weeks, we'll have all the information about the forum. If you're interested in learning more about Phia's services or even getting some of the slides to our forum, please feel free to contact Brady, Ron, or myself. On behalf of Pat Santos, Ron Peck, Brady Bizzaro, and myself, the Adam Russo, thank you for empowering your plans with the Phia Group.